we are legislating. And yes, we are investigating. And today we move further down the path in our inquiry by putting forth our procedures, which are very transparent and open, and frankly, more transparent, more open, giving more privileges to the president and his argument than were given in the past.
Republicans have been criticizing the Democrats' impeachment inquiry on process grounds, especially for keeping the action behind closed doors. But in those private rooms, away from the cameras, they've been building the case against the president and corroborating it. At the same time, not providing any opportunity for ridiculous theatrics from Republicans. The storming of the congressional secure room last week, a notable exception. And now, for both better and worse, the inquiry is about to enter a new phase. As the Democrats move forward with a new strategy in public, the stakes are going to get a lot higher. Here to talk about what that's going to look like are Jill Wine-Banks, former Assistant Watergate Special Prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst, and former Democratic Congresswoman Elizabeth Holtzen, who served on the House Judiciary Committee that approved 3 articles of impeachment against Richard Nixon. So I think everyone agrees that you can't impeach a president in closed setting, right? You got to have open hearings. But it's also striking to me that, even more than 1998 with Bill Clinton, the Republicans here do not view this as a legitimate process. Like, fundamentally, they don't view themselves as mounting an argument. They view it as a process that they want to subvert. And that's going to play out, I think, in how this actual process goes out. How do you think it will play out?
Well, yeah, I'm very troubled to see all of the Republicans voting against an inquiry. I mean, when I was there and during the Nixon impeachment, the vote was, over 400 to only 4? Because people said, well, there needs to be an inquiry. These charges are serious. We need to look at the facts. What are the facts? At that point, people voted for the inquiry, but most Republicans on the committee in the end decided the facts didn't warrant impeachment. Just because you're voting for an inquiry doesn't mean you have to come out for impeachment.
But that's my point. We're in a different universe. Right,
we're in a different universe. That's the problem. So the Democrats have 2 things they have to do. One is to complete the investigations, and 2, to have the public hearings. The question is, how are the Republicans going to respond? Are they going to act as clowns? Are they going to try to be disruptive, as we've seen? Or are they going to act in a serious, sober, responsible way? And I'm losing confidence that they're going to do that. And so the question is, how are the Democrats going to respond to that?
One interesting point in the resolution that was approved today talks about allowing for staff questioning, which strikes me as important. Do you think that's an important aspect here?
I am so glad you raised that, because I haven't heard enough about it today. I think it's one of the most significant features. The 5-minute rule that said Democrats get 5 minutes, Republicans get 5, and you change the topic every time. That is not an effective way. As a trial lawyer, I can tell you, I can't do in 5 minutes an effective development of a narrative. And then if you change the subject, nobody's going to get anywhere. The American people will not get a story that they can understand. So what they've now done is said 90 minutes can be used, and it can be extended, but Democrats get 45, Republicans get 45, and staff can do the questioning. And then you go to the 5-minute rule with the Congress members doing the questioning. That's such a good way for America to understand what the
It's a really important point. And the 45 minutes, obviously, the Republicans will be able to use that for staff questioning themselves,
yes,
right?
I mean,
presumably they would be smart to do that.
Yes. I mean, all you had to do was look at the Barry Burke questioning of Corey Lewandowski and compare that to how much was accomplished in the 5-minute segments. And you could see, now, by the time Barry Burke started the questioning, the networks had all turned off. It was over. They had covered the congressman. If we had started with that, it would have been a much more effective case. So that's very important as to the rules that are very good.
Here's a kind of philosophical question. What is the purpose of these public hearings? Is the purpose to enter facts into evidence? Is it to persuade members of Congress? Is it to show things to the American people and move public opinion? How do you see the purpose of this next phase?
All of the above.
Yes.
All of the above. It's primarily an educational function for the American people. They will also help to move members of Congress, but it also helps to educate members of Congress because they don't know all the facts here.
In fact, that's been the complaint Republicans have been making for 37 days.
Right. But the fact is that when you have a live witness, just as happened when you had John Dean on during the Watergate hearings before the U.S. Senate, the American people can listen to the witness. They can judge the witness's sincerity. They can judge the witness's credibility. They can say, you know something, that witness is telling the truth. Or, you know something, I don't believe that person. But the public is not going to support an impeachment effort unless they have a sense of how credible and how sincere the witnesses are. So that's the key thing.
Right.
Now, of course, if the Republicans try to disrupt that process, that's going to make it a lot more difficult. And I think Democrats really need to be ready for the worst possible scenario here. And that's unfortunate.
Two things to add to that, which is nowadays the problem is that there is going to be a group of people who will never hear the evidence that's presented
Yes.
because Fox will obscure it. People on MSNBC will see the facts, they will cover the witnesses. And so far, we've seen very clear evidence of how the Republicans are going to approach this. They have not addressed any of the facts. They have diverted to other subjects. And that's, I'm afraid, what will happen here. And that could cause, I think, a very bad result. I'm hoping that the facts will matter, that people will pay attention, and that, like the Manafort juror who said, I'm a loyal Trump supporter, but I heard the evidence and I voted to convict him on all 18 counts because the facts were really compelling. And that's what we need. That was the difference in Watergate, where you saw the facts.
That's a great point. Joe Wine-Banks and Elizabeth Holtman, thank you both. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.